house, and I'm a filmmaking student here at NMSU. First and foremost, I just want to thank Natalia for this opportunity. I'm sure on behalf of all the artists too, it's such a pleasure to have a space to have your art seen, heard, and felt. And so I hope you felt something today, and I hope you feel something right now. So the poems and guitar I'm going to be playing and reading for you guys, I kind of made in Australia. So I was in Australia last semester on exchange, and it was one of the most valuable experiences I've had. And I learned a lot, and I felt a lot, and my way of getting it out kind of was through poetry and guitar and kind of feeling whatever I felt. So this guitar is from Australia. Actually, I brought it back with me. I didn't really play much before, and so it was great to just kind of like find this new art form to express myself, and I'm just very grateful to have this opportunity. So let me get a little drink of water. This is my first time ever performing as well, so this is just pretty crazy. There's a lot of you guys. I hope you can all hear, so try to keep it down, I guess. I wish we had a better, like, we could hear some more, but we'll do it. I think it'll be great. So this first one's really short. We're going to kick it off. It's like 30 seconds long, so don't blink or like close your ears, I guess, because you're going to miss it. So it's called Life Out of Balance. Life has a pattern of doing that. Ripping someone away, but not intentionally, it just happens. How do you deal with that? When time moves slow. When every inch of you yearns to be in the clouds, but your feet are on the ground being pulled from every direction. How do you show up for the people you love when life is so good at distracting you? So that's the first one right off the bat. Cool. Man, this is crazy how many people, you know, Natalia was like, oh, 50 people are going to come. I said no. You're going to get a crowd for this, and the artwork has been amazing. So, I'm working currently on a documentary from my trip to kind of show how much it meant to me and kind of give back to the people that I met there and the home that I built for myself there. And so, in my documentary, I kind of start with this saying, and it kind of ties into this poem, so I wanted to say it. But it says, "We take advantage of life and love and all sorts of things until they have to go. And it's at that point you realize just how much of it you have and wonder why you didn't realize it beforehand." And there's another thing, is like you have a hand outstretched underneath you in case you fall, and you never quite see that hand until you do fall. And I realized that I was building a home for myself here and meeting some of the most amazing people and some of the closest friends I've ever been to. And I realized I was going to have to leave it all. And so before I wrote this poem, my roommate told me he was moving out in 3 weeks. And I've really never been closer to a friend than, you know, my roommates. And him telling me that was like, oh, that's great. I'm gonna have to leave these people. So I wrote a poem about it because that's what I do to kind of figure out what the heck I'm feeling. So this one's called September. I want to stay permanently in the temporary. A battle of balance between two opposing forces. Living in the moment and pretending you're oblivious to its impermanence. It sounds a lot easier on paper. The cycle we forget about. The cycle nature knows all too much about. Budding and withering. Effort and ease. Strength and grace. Forgetting again. Becoming accustomed to the rush and bustle, falling into the rut. Widening your vision. Looking up to see strangers that are far from strange, watching as love materializes and then disappears again. Always there in the air around you, but we trust our eyes too much. Cool. So, so this next one I'm gonna read for you is just out of my journal. It had some guitar to it, but I'd rather read it. And so this is my journal from Australia. It says Annie, Australia 2022. It has all my things I did, my thoughts, fears, hopes, dreams, emotions, like everything. If you stole this from me, you'd know all of my secrets. But please don't steal it until after I finish a documentary, because it's so cool to go back and kind of, see what I was doing that day, what I was feeling, and really document my experience. And I mean, maybe just don't steal it all. Actually, that would be great. So, Jaden had left at this point, and I was asking myself a couple of questions. Where does your sadness go? Because it all just seems to pour out at one point or another. Where does it come from, and when do I stuff it away? Hidden under the surface until at one point it seeps out, trickles, and then flows. Is it like an organ stored in one area, or is it in me, spread throughout my body? Does it come from me, or do I internalize other people's stories? Does it symbolize change in me, something shifting inside, and the tears are a lubricant? It surprises me how much I can let loose, how much I'm holding inside of me when I can't feel the weight. Cool. I guess I forgot to say that one's called October. I've kind of just named them after the months I was there. Maybe it was because I was a little bit lazy, but also the months just kind of fit the theme, you know. So next up, guess what we have, guys? Guess what month? November. Yeah. So this one is a little bit more vulnerable, I guess. A lot of them are kind of vulnerable. But I learned a lot on this trip about myself and, you know, all sorts of things. And if you don't know me, I'm a very passionate person. I really kind of just throw myself into whatever I'm doing. If it's filmmaking, if it's art, if, you know, whatever. And I realized there that I do the same thing for relationships. I kind of throw myself into someone and I'm all in, you know. And so it's heartbreaking when someone you really like tells you that you deserve someone that could give you more, I guess, or give you what you deserve. And that's like really sad. And so when she told me that, I was like, I realized I never wanted to close my heart off to anyone. I never wanted to hide how much I could give. I always want to keep my heart open and give as much as I give. And so I wrote this poem kind of thinking about her and realizing that I just have had bad luck in love, but I don't want that to affect any way I love, I guess, and any way I act, because, I don't know, I'm a very, very energetic and kind of crazy person, and I don't want to change that. So I wrote a poem about the way my heart felt. This one's called November. It's also called, I forgot to tune down while I was talking. It's also called The Dog and the Bone, or The Dog and the Stick, or The Dog and whatever you want it to be chasing, really. So just kind of picture that in your head. Could be a tennis ball, whatever, you know? Yeah. November, The Dog and the Bone. My heart feels like a dog that runs across the beach. It chases a stick thrown by its owner, and it doesn't seem to know why, but it feels right to chase that stick into the crashing waves, until it realizes it isn't chasing anything. The owner still holds the stick in its grip. It still lies in the hands of fate, so it runs from the water to the sand to again chase nothing into the ocean. Panting and choking on the salty seawater, it feels no hate or anger, waiting for the one throw that will be real. The one throw where the stick will land in the water and the dog will jump into the crashing waves and return with the trophy. To drop at the foot of fate and instinct and start over again. So by now you're probably like, Annie, all these are so sad, what the heck, you know? And I have to say to that, I have to say sadness is just as important as happiness, and they kind of come in a package deal. And so life is never just one thing Life is always never just one emotion, one thing. It's always kind of a mix of things that you can't quite put into words, and that's why it's so fun to articulate what I felt in this way, to articulate what cannot necessarily be said. So, this next one, guys, guess what? Guess what month? December, but it's not the whole month anymore. It's December 3rd. So we've moved to a specific date. Okay, so it's just a little bit better. So I got to Australia in July. I don't know if I clarified that. I went from our summer to their winter, and when I was leaving, it was their summer. Didn't feel like Christmas at all. Their summer to back home to winter, and then back home to immediately Christmas, holidays, New Year's, family, friends. And it was amazing, it was great. It was also sad because I was leaving the people that I had grown so close to in the home I built for myself. So, I wrote a poem about it because that's how it goes, you know? I wrote a couple poems and they didn't seem to quite work, and I couldn't get like that cathartic feel out of it. I wrote another one, didn't work, and it was a little bit frustrating. So I wrote, finally, a poem about writing these poems. And that seemed to do the trick. So this is called December 3rd, and I left, by the way, like December 20th, so this was like right on the cusp of that. December 3rd. I feel like I'm too much for myself. For others, I feel like the culmination of all the unfinished poems in this journal, each one not quite completed, not quite structured. Too much spills off the pages and in between the lines. Too much is said, too much has been stitched together. Too much to handle, too overwhelming to understand. I give too much, I think too much, I just seem to feel too much. Blow balloons in a room full of nails, I set myself up for disappointment. Maybe this is the feeling you get when you try to stuff things into a box that is clearly too small. I can't tell what is my gut and what is my mind today. So I have one last poem from the journal that no one is going to steal after this. Yeah, I came home to winter and holiday and everything like that, and I realized that it felt like my heart was always going to be in two different places. And it's sad, but it's also so happy because it means that I have that much more love in my life. So if you guys want to read along, this poem is on the last page of your little booklets. You don't have to read along if you don't want to, though. If we're going to name them how I've been naming the other ones, this would be called January, but I think we're just going to call it Home. I'll give you guys a second. You don't have to, though. The grass is golden today. Like a field of wheat between my toes, the sun feels warm on my skin, and I sit here and try to decipher what I feel. The pigeon coo reminds me of Grandma's house, of luminarias, of youth when life didn't have a strong book grip on me, of the winter days where sitting in the sun is like scratching a good itch, and Kiba keeps me company. I'm trying to figure out where I fit back into the strange familiarity of home. I feel the pecans under my feet in the field of gold and find comfort in this familiar. The sounds of childhood and the smell of winter. I am home. Again, like seriously, I've just been so grateful to have this opportunity to do this in the first place. It's so amazing to express myself in a different way other than filmmaking. But I do still have films up there, and I do still make films, so if any of you want to check out my YouTube or my Instagram, I have business cards over here. I came up with a good thing earlier today. I said, take one, take two, take them home with you. That was a little bit weird, but anyways, I got business cards up here, and that's it for me.
So talented, so talented. We're gonna wrap up around 7:30, so get what's left of your food.
So thank you for coming. I want to introduce